Welcome back to Whispers in the Shadows HQ, where every story hides a darker truth. Tonight, we uncover a tale of charm, deceit, and a chilling double life. This is the story of Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. In the sun-drenched, optimistic world of 1970s Los Angeles, image was everything. It was a time of opportunity, of reinvention, a place where a charismatic smile could open any door. Against this vibrant backdrop, a man named Rodney Alcala moved with an easy, disarming grace. He was handsome, with a confident smile that could put anyone at ease. He carried himself with an air of intelligence, a photographer with a keen eye for beauty, an entertainer who knew how to work a room. To the world, he appeared to be the perfect gentleman, the kind of person you'd be happy to meet, someone you'd trust instantly. But behind the camera's lens, hidden beneath the polished veneer, he concealed a nature so sinister it would eventually shatter the lives of countless people. The smiling face the world saw was just a mask, and what lay behind it was a predator of the most horrifying kind, waiting for his moment to strike. This illusion of the perfect bachelor reached its peak in 1978. In an era dominated by game shows, the dating game was a cultural phenomenon. Millions tuned in to watch as a bachelorette quizzed three unseen bachelors, ultimately choosing one for a chaperoned date. And on one fateful episode, one of those bachelors was Rodney Alcala. Under the bright studio lights, with the sound of laughter and applause filling the air, Alcala was in his element. He was witty, charming, and effortlessly confident. His answers were playful, even a little suggestive, and he completely won over the audience. The host, Jim Lang, playfully introduced him as a successful photographer who enjoyed skydiving and motorcycling. Bachelor number one was a hit. The bachelorette, Cheryl Bradshaw, was so taken with his smooth talk that she chose him for the date. But backstage, she would later recall feeling an unsettling, creepy vibe from him, a stark contrast to his on-air persona. She refused to go on the date. It was a decision that may have saved her life. What no one in that studio knew, what the millions watching at home could never have guessed, was that at that very moment, this charming contestant was not just a predator in waiting. He was a fugitive, actively wanted by police for a series of brutal and violent crimes. He was a monster hiding in plain sight on national television. Behind the carefully constructed facade of the charming photographer and game show winner, Alcala lived a dark, predatory double life. His camera was not just a tool for art, it was his lure. He would approach young women and even children on the streets, in parks and on beaches, offering them a photo shoot. He'd promise them fame, a chance to build a modeling portfolio, an opportunity to break into the industry. For many aspiring individuals in a city like Los Angeles, it was an irresistible offer. But this promise of a bright future was a lie, a gateway to a terrifying reality. His victims, lured by trust and ambition, would find themselves trapped. The photo shoots would turn sinister, the lens capturing not their dreams, but their fear. Years later, when authorities finally raided his storage locker, they uncovered a chilling testament to his predatory reign. Hundreds and hundreds of photographs. The images ranged from professional-looking portraits to deeply disturbing and explicit snapshots of women, teenage girls and boys. These photos were more than just evidence. They were trophies, a haunting gallery of faces belonging to people whose only mistake was trusting the wrong man. A predator was not just hiding in plain sight, he was documenting his evil. For years, law enforcement across multiple states struggled to see the full picture of Rodney Alcala's crimes. His intelligence, which made him so charming, also made him a cunning and elusive criminal. He moved constantly, shifting from state to state, from one identity to the next. He would alter his appearance, grow out his hair, change his name, and blend seamlessly into new communities, leaving a trail of baffled investigators and heartbroken families in his wake. Cases of missing persons would crop up, but the connections between them were difficult to establish. The crimes were sporadic, geographically scattered, and lacked a consistent pattern, or so it seemed. Alcala was a ghost, a phantom who could commit horrific acts and then simply vanish. His ability to evade capture was infuriating for police. They knew a predator was on the loose, but his cleverness and his ability to project an image of normalcy allowed him to slip through their fingers time and time again. Each narrow escape only emboldened him, allowing his reign of terror to continue unchecked while the number of his unknown victims tragically grew. The turning point finally came in 1979, thanks to the incredible bravery of one survivor. A 12-year-old girl named Robin Samsoe was abducted while on her way to a ballet class in Huntington Beach. Her body was found 12 days later. A vigilant park ranger had reported a suspicious man in the area around the time of her disappearance, and the composite sketch he helped create bore a striking resemblance to Rodney Alcala. More importantly, Alcala's parole officer saw the sketch on television and recognized him immediately, alerting the police. This crucial tip led to his arrest. When investigators began to delve into Alcala's life and belongings, the true scale of his depravity started to emerge. It was his storage locker that held the most shocking revelations. Inside, they discovered a treasure trove of evidence, including the earrings that belonged to Robin Samsoe. And then there were the photographs, hundreds upon hundreds of them. The images showed countless unidentified women and children, many in unsettling poses. The discovery horrified even the most seasoned detectives. They realized they weren't just dealing with a single case. They had stumbled upon the lair of a prolific serial killer, and each photograph represented a potential victim, a story untold, and a family left wondering. To this day, many of the individuals in those photos have never been identified. The legal battle that followed was a long and complex marathon of justice. Rodney Alcala's intelligence, once used to lure victims, was now weaponized in the courtroom. Acting as his own attorney during parts of his trials, he was arrogant, manipulative, and theatrical. He cross-examined witnesses with a chilling detachment, questioned the mothers of his victims, and seemed to revel in the attention and control. His case went through years of trials, mistrials, and appeals. The legal process was agonizing for the families of his victims, who had to repeatedly relive their trauma. But advances in DNA technology eventually sealed his fate. In 2010, he was definitively linked to 4 additional murders from the 1970s. Finally, after decades of denial and legal maneuvering, Rodney Alcala was convicted for a total of 7 murders, though authorities widely believe the true number of his victims could be over 100. Throughout the proceedings, his demeanor remained cold and remorseless. He showed no emotion as the gruesome details of his crimes were read aloud, revealing a man utterly disconnected from the immense horror and suffering he had single-handedly created. In 2021, Alcala died in prison, taking the full truth of his monstrous legacy with him to the grave. The story of Rodney Alcala serves as one of the most disturbing case studies in the duality of human nature. It's a chilling reminder that evil doesn't always wear a monstrous face. Sometimes it wears a charming smile and speaks with a confident voice. He was a man who stood under the bright, cheerful lights of a national television show, captivating an audience with his wit while simultaneously hiding the darkest of secrets. The image of him on The Dating Game remains an iconic and terrifying symbol of a predator who mastered the art of camouflage. His legacy is one of fear, but also one of caution. It reminds us that behind a charismatic facade can lie a void of empathy, that a person can be celebrated in the spotlight while their true self thrives in the shadows. The lights of that TV studio have long since gone dark. The applause has faded into an eerie silence, But the questions raised by his case continue to echo. How many more were there? How could such evil hide so perfectly in plain sight? Evil doesn't always hide in the dark. Sometimes it stands in the spotlight. This has been Whispers in the Shadows HQ. Subscribe for more true crime stories that reveal the darkness lurking behind ordinary faces. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next shadow.